our final album, which is Le CœUR et sa dictature by Zélie. And apologies for completely, probably butchering the pronunciation. I tried my best.
Also, pronunciation, just as a history, is not good on this channel. Is just to give you a heads up.
We'll do our best. But it's a perfect segue to say, Zélie, you lead the discussion on Zélie's album as your pick.
I think she's a really exciting new artist on the scene. And I think in France at the moment, there's a lot of really exciting energy there and a lot of exciting new artists. And especially, as we've just had International Women's Day, a lot of really exciting female artists. I mean, it was the Victoire de la Musique Awards, like a couple in mid-February, which it's like the Victories of Music Award, but it's basically the equivalent of the British Brit Awards. And actually, for the first time, in the category for best song, for the first time ever, it was all women who were nominated. But so I think she's just Zélie is part of a cohort of a lot of exciting young female artists. And I think this album she's sort of like, I don't know, there's a lot of different themes being explored. She's very candid in her lyrics. And, she only had her debut 5 years ago, and this was released through Sony Music. It's an album, they're quite ambitious for a young artist to be releasing 15 tracks. Quite a bold statement, I thought. And highlights for me is maybe the track Je ne serai jamais, I will never be, which is sort of just her stating, I'm never going to be this, I'm never going to be that. This is who I am. But also I think an artist who is still sort of finding her identity a little bit, and certainly in her sound, and I think that's reflected in the lyrics as well. There's a slight, there was more melancholic ones than there's the songs like On danse le dimanche, we dance on Sundays, where she talks about, we dance, but then I cry, and what else does she say in the lyrics? It's sort of like, she just, feels just a little bit confused. And then copine, which just means girlfriend, or like female friend in French, is about like fancying. It's about fancying your female friend. And I talk to her about boys that I like, but actually it's you that I fancy. And so there's a lot of kind of exploration of her own identity there, which I think just generally resonates when you're in your early 20s. And also, I think she fits in. She really reminded me of the Belgian pop star Angèle, who is like, she's killing it. She's just released a song with Justice, which I would 10 out of 10 recommend checking out. But I think possibly she was playing it a little bit safe in this album would be my only criticism. I would have liked to see her kind of push the boat out a little bit more, but I think that is hard when you're still finding your sound and your identity as an artist, to then go too far into the lane of like Gorillaz level of experimentation, collaborating with all these different people. But I really liked it, and I think again, as I said before, she's just part of a cohort of really exciting young female artists, along with Zahra de Sagazan, Marguerite, Helena. Helena won the best song at the Victoire de la Musique Awards. Her song Mauvais Garçon, would definitely recommend checking that out as well. And yeah, I feel like there's a lot going on. She's sort of part of this scene in France, which is very exciting. And I think her trajectory is this is really just the beginning.
Just the beginning. So
just the beginning, from my opinion.
What did you make of Le CœUR et sa dictature?
Yeah, so I didn't know anything about Zélie before this month, but I had a really good time discovering her with this album. So great selection. Xenia for this one. Again, we had Zaho de Zagazan a few months ago. Again, maybe not something that would ever like land on our doorstep if it wasn't for you putting it our way. So great to get a bit of flavour of like what's going on in the European scene. And yeah, lots of familiar touch points with this one. Naturally reminded me of Christine and the Queens, I guess, not just for the French language element, but I think like the dramatic flair and like the theatrical nature to this record. I think it's got a great pace to it, and what I do commend her on is like she's really like stitched it together. It's quite a cohesive project, and yeah, it kind of just it's got a great pace to it. It really, when I was listening to it, really just kind of flew by. Maybe because I was listening to it after the Gorillaz album, I don't know, but by comparison, yeah, there wasn't anything that was making me want to like turn it off. Also reminded me a bit of Oscar and the Wolf, who's one of my favorites from Belgium. So again, must be something in the water over that way. 070 Shake, Ash Nico, even Lily Allen I got at points as well in like the music. But yeah, ultimately I think it's just a very solid pop record. And it was interesting you like digging into like some of the themes and like the meaning behind the songs as well, because even though when I was listening to it and I didn't understand what she was singing or talking about in these songs, I thought she did a great job of like conveying the emotions like with her vocal performances. But yeah, getting that added context from you just there as well. I need to go back and listen to the songs again now with that perspective. But yeah, just a great variety on here as well. Again, I won't try and pronounce the track names, as I'll only butcher them. But you've got your more up tempo moments. There's a bit of synth pop, and there's some ballads in there as well. And yeah, just some real earworm tracks. There's a couple of songs midway through with like really great guitar grooves, and then in the back end, like the strongest section for me with Je t'aime and Mon mec à moi, which I can't.
Oh, I loved Mon mec à moi. That's so catchy. Yeah,
those two for me really stood out. The closing like title track as well. So yeah, that final kind of run just was really like a crescendo for me. So yeah, just a really solid pop record. And it was one of those where there was plenty of fun moments on here to keep me engaged and grooving along to it. Lots of variety too. And like I said at the start, just a great pace. I think that 40 minutes just goes really quickly. And yeah, love the way that she segued each song into the next one as well. So yeah, thumbs up from me, and great to get a new discovery from across the channel.
Yes. So that's 2 out of the 3 French artists we've featured, which have come from you, Xenia. So,
excellent.
The first was Karl with Christine and the Queens in our first year doing the pod, wasn't it? I can't remember the name of that one off the top of my head, but that was her 1 hour 30 minute epic.
Yeah,
so
which I absolutely adored. I still listen to that album. So.
Yeah, but there was a few different opinions on that one.
Not for everyone, for sure.
Yeah, I mean there were some great moments on it as well. But yeah, the 90-minute runtime was at the heart of maybe some of that. Obviously Zaho de Zagazan, which you both referred to, and was your pick, I think, back in October, something like that, I think last year, which was a very orchestral, arranged effort. And I think the third kind of iteration of that particular album after the original, and then there was like a remix one, and then this was the kind of live orchestral version. So which really had that kind of classic French flair with
it did.
Wow. And then here, so you go from orchestral to here a very modern pop record, which does have a lot of variety. I think it's well arranged throughout. I'd like there to be a bit more knowledge of these songs on the internet. So some of them I was able to get the backstory for, and that was really helpful, and yeah, really did show the wide variety of the kind of topics she talks about, and you referred to a few of them, Xenia, as well. But yeah, some of them literally nothing comes up for it when I was sort of, you know, putting in the song titles, early English translation, nothing. So so I just had to sort of work with the vibe of it. But as Karl says, I think that comes across very well on you know, most of the tracks. But yeah, I think this is a really, really good effort. You know, early on in her career, the part a bit like the Gorillaz, it was the last 3 tracks was the run I enjoyed the most. With We May, a really lovely sort of dreamy arrangement, like piano, very engaging. That one possibly my standout on the record. Then D dot is just a bouncy pop song, you know, catchy upbeat, and then the title track itself at the end, which I think is Her Heart and Its Dictatorship, I believe is so. Which like even as a phrase is really interesting, and particularly yeah, with some of the, because a few of the tracks very much sort of say like she's following her heart over her head, but then her head is in agreement because she's just saying, I'm feeling this, and I'm just going to be kind of a prisoner of the feelings I have in this relationship and just go for it in that way. So she's kind of aware of that, like willful naivety in relate, which is quite interesting. And like I say, I've not heard that sort of phrase before, but it's a really nice kind of epic finale. So, and then other ones which really enjoyed, the first track, Il a dit, which has that lyric in there as well. So there's a nice kind of circularity with the album. And it's just that dramatic like moment 2/3 into the track, which I really like, when it's kind of like the drop and it suddenly changes, where you go, okay, this isn't just going to be your regular just sort of 3-minute pop songs, you know, every single one, but there's actually some really good sort of U-turns in the tracks, and it goes off in lots of different directions. So that one really enjoyed. La Fin de Cour was a nice kind of breezy summer anthem, I thought. And then yeah, I think it's worth just briefly touching on Danse le Dimanche, which you reference, Xenia, which I thought was a bit like a sorry track actually in its arrangement, which was quite interesting. You know, quite whimsical, jazzy, and like a few of the other tracks on here, it kind of is a reference to the kind of broken home she's had with her dad sort of leaving. There's a lot about her dad across this one, but that one kind of sort of talks about how every Sunday they would dance as a family, and that was their part of the joy, and now that he's sort of back in the picture, he's sort of seeing it, and yeah, really, really interesting and very, very candid again. The only small notes on the downside, and this so yeah, Je ne serai jamais, I didn't really I just only say that's one of your highlights, but the kind of arrangement of it felt a bit like a sigh, like it was just a bit like that. I felt a bit flat. And then the other one, which you both enjoyed, was Mon Mec et Moi, which for just as one I didn't so much. But yeah, way more highlights than lowlights for me, and a really strong effort from great new artists, and really pleased to have like I say, another new artist to kind of get into, and particularly with that different geography on the pod, where generally it's just flicking between UK and America for the most part, sometimes Canada,
Ireland.
Yeah, Ireland, we do have a fair few in islands, and yeah, occasionally maybe Australia and New Zealand, but yeah, it's nice to also have one which is with a different language, and certainly requires a bit more digging and brushing up on my GCSE level French.